हेलो फ्रेंड्स, आई एम सी राशि माहेश्वरी। जैसा कि आप सबको पता है, 30 सितंबर अप्रोचिंग है। टैक्स ऑडिट का ड्यू डेट फॉर्म 3CD हम सबको फाइल करना है 30 सितंबर तक। और इसमें जो क्लॉज 44 है, दैट इज डिफ्रेंशिएटिंग बिटवीन कि रजिस्टर्ड एंटिटी से कितने एक्सपेंसेस हुए हैं, जीएसटी रजिस्टर्ड एंटिटी से, और अनरजिस्टर्ड एंटिटी से कितने एक्सपेंसेस हुए हैं, और एग्जम्प्ट एक्सपेंसेस कितने हैं। ये डिफ्रेंशिएट करना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो रहा है। तो लेट्स चेक थ्रू एन एग्जाम्पल। मैं आपको अपनी स्क्रीन पर लेकर चलती हूँ।
So basically, now this need to be bifurcated into expenses incurred with registered entities and with unregistered entities. Now the expenses which tend amount to supply are only required to be bifurcated. If they don't tend amount to supply only, then these are not to be included while calculation. Therefore, the schedule 3, which are neither called as supply of goods nor called as supply of services, need to be reduced. The schedule 3 expenses you need to go for. I'll give you one two example, that is employer paying salary to the employee. This is schedule 3 expenses. Code fees, schedule 3 expenses. So this expenses which are neither called as supply of goods nor called as supply of services are listed in schedule 3, and they need to be excluded from the total expenses because they are neither with registered non with not with non-registered. Therefore, format of working would be such, say, total expenditure as per P&L account that you have incurred is, say, for example, you have incurred 100 rupees. Now, your capital expenditures that you have incurred, say, for example, 50 rupees. This is amount of capital investment that you have done in fixed assets. Okay, these are also expenses. So, total expenses would be 150 rupees. Now, the non-cash items which are included in your P&L expenses, total expenditures that 100 you have taken includes your non-cash items. Non-cash items means, say, maybe depreciation or maybe a provision for bad debts. Okay, anything it could be. So the 150 minus your non-cash items, say for example those non-cash items are 20 rupees. Okay, now transactions not in securities and money, transactions not in securities and money, these are not called as supply, are outside the definition of supply. These need to be reduced. Say for example these are 10, and schedule 3 expenses that I've told you above, say for example those are also 10. So this was 130, 130 minus 10 minus 10 minus 20, that is 110. Now this 110, this rupees 110 now need to be bifurcated into exempt, into registered, into non-registered. Up, say for example your client's business is small and they cannot classify the expenses into registered and unregistered entities. In that scenario, what we'll do, this is just for ease, and this is how, this is my personal view that you can take is, you can take this figure of registered entity directly from GSTR to A, because data is not provided and you can provide a note against it. That note I'll discuss it in further video. And rest of the expenses would be from non-registered entities. This exempt will I'll also discuss in further video. So now this expenses, as I said above, that 110 need to be bifurcated. So total amount of expenditure incurred during the year would be 150. That is your 100 rupees as your total expenses per P&L account, plus your 50 rupees capital expenditure. So this is 150 rupees. So this will be your total expenditure. Now expenditure in respect of entities registered under the act. Now you need to bifurcate into exempt, composition scheme, other registered, that is your total expenditures with registered scheme. So this can be through, as I said, can be through GSTR 2A total. And composition scheme, you, if your business is small, they'll not provide you such details, and in case they don't provide you such details, then you can give a note against this. Okay, now exempt from GST. This includes your nil rated, your wholly exempt, and you're also non-taxable. Non-taxable means your petroleum and your alcoholic liquor for human consumption, etc., which are not taxable under that. This is also included in this figure. The details in which you'll give exempt. This will be included in your exempt from GST figure. Okay, so you can ask for working from the client in such a format that makes it easy for you to determine. So expense ka head, and then name of the entity to whom the payment is made. It, it's GSTN. If GSTN is provided, that means it is registered entity. If it is not provided, it is unregistered entity. Okay, and total expenses, ITC against it, amount paid to vendor against it, and if it is nil rate of return, reason why it is nil rate of whether it is non-taxable or whether it is exempt, nil rate need to be known by you. So this is how you can ask for detail from the client to make it easy for you to determine and bifurcate the expenses. And see, expenses which need to be asked is should not be headwise. He convinced me kitna hai traveling. No, it should not be headwise. They have asked for bifurcation by total expense and not headwise. Headwise nahi karna hai. It should be a total expense. Okay, then examples of non-cash items are given, and then the important note, which I said for composition scheme, as I said earlier, for composition scheme, if you client has not provided the detail, then you should provide a note कि we cannot carry out whether these expenses through compositions were taken from composition scheme or not. Okay, in case the assessee is unable to provide the details. So this is all about how you can deal with clause 44 in report 3CD. Thank you.